Hello, and welcome to another fourth video. We're back with another brew. This deck is entirely based around, I'm going to say, Pauper is a very powerful format. There's two 4-mana creatures that I think are playable in their own right, which is Murmuring Mystic and Writhing Chrysalis. Other things, there are creature spells that have a mana cost greater than 4, but they either have cost reduction mechanics like Affinity, like the snakes, or you're as much paying for the emblem in like Avenging Hunter, Thorn of Black Rose. Maybe there's like a red-green ramp, play a 4-mana creature, but by and large, there's only two 4-mana creatures that are powerful enough to see consistent play. Murmuring Mystic is one of them. We're just going to try and do the most Murmuring Mystic thing that we can. So other than that, the deck is kind of split. There's been Murmuring Mystic decks before, and there's been this kind of mono blue control shell with Abjure and some stuff. But right, let's start with Murmuring Mystic and what we're doing differently. So the big thing I'm going to draw attention to is we've got two high tides. So the idea is, probably on turn 4 or 5, we'll play a high tide. We'll play a Murmuring Mystic. We might end up snapping something, and we're just going to try and have that turn be very good. We're not necessarily, looking to end the game on that turn, but the idea is if we make, 7 1/1 bird tokens, will that actually be enough some of the time? We will wait and see. So high tide, as I say, to support it, we've got 4 snaps to kind of refresh our mana. We've got a bunch of merchant scrolls. This can find us a high tide, it can find us a counterspell or a snap or something. And it's also a first spell to trigger Murmuring Mystic, and then the second one that you fetch you can probably cast. So this is kind of I'm going to say this is our high tidy package. What else we got going on? We've got one Archaeomancer. If we have, some high tides, we could potentially go infinite with Snap. Otherwise, it's just another 4-power, 4-mana creature. I guess this is a 4-mana creature that is playable, but this is kind of particularly about Ephemerate, right? Yeah, maybe my argument's rubbish. Okay, so that's the kind of 4 Murmuring Mystics, our kind of mana advantage pile side of the deck. 4 Counterspell, 3 Abjure to go with our 4 Cryogen Relics, and 4 Hard Evidence as ways to make blue creatures. Again, we're playing a mono blue control shell, we need to get a load of counters in. That just kind of leaves us, I'm going to filter back. That leaves us with like a couple of preordained, some brainstorm, some cantrips that work well with the mystics. On the top end, I'm going to pull out our kind of merchant scroll pile now, which is basically this. So we can get a Meeting in Mind, really good if we have a Murmuring Mystic going. Behold the Multiverse is our kind of big card advantage engine. Snap that we were playing anyway, Counterspell we were playing anyway. I can imagine we get these a lot. The High Tide to set up a big turn. Brainstorm, one of Brainstorm looks so odd, but if you need to find if you need to draw a certain thing and you, for whatever reason, can't merchant scroll for it, maybe a Brainstorm finds you it. Who knows? And then one Snapback as a snap for free. I figured that we're going to spend a lot of time snapbacking our Murmuring Mystics to protect them from removal. And maybe we will want a snapback to make that happen. Other fun obs, we've got one Mystic Remora in the deck. I really want Mystic Remora and Abjure to be a good combo. If we run this out early, maybe we slow them down so we get time to build mana to have our big explosive high tide Mystic turn. Alternatively, if we play this, they kill a Mystic, we get to draw some cards. And it seems really cool that you could sacrifice this to Abjure. I don't know whether that will work, but that's part of the that's another kind of cool interaction we're going for. And then the sideboard is incredibly rough. I don't know how many of these cards we'll end up using. I'm confident I want a whole bunch of blue blasts. We don't have any life gain in mono blue. I don't want to try splashing another color. Green could be good. We get Weather the Storm, we get Explore. White could be good. We'd get, the Familiars kind of style deck, or Godfrey's Faith would be tempting. Black would get us Snuff Out, so we actually have removal. But we don't have any of those, so we're staying mono blue, which means we're going to need some blue blast to make red playable. Inside Out, I mean, it's a fun one if we get paired into walls. Steel Sabotage, part of this was thinking that we can bounce like bridges, for example, and just get ourselves ahead. Curfew, one of to help against boggles. Again, these are all like, blue instants for Merchant Scroll. Meeting of Minds, just another card advantage spell if we're playing a matchup where we feel we need that. Unwind, cool with High Tide, don't know if it'll work. And then 2 excludes for like a mid-rangey deck. Again, I think I'm confident on these 7 being playable. And sure, if you think you're going to play into a load of walls, you could play these. Otherwise, this is just an absolute crapshoot. Until we get some games in with this deck and work out what we actually think we will want for different matchups. So that's a bit of a high-low everywhere. Things to keep an eye on. How many times does High Tide Murmuring Mystic work to, set us up in the game? How many times do Murmuring Mystic, like Cryogen Relic, make us really sad because we don't actually make any birds? We don't have that much card advantage, like Lorien's a big one. If Lorien wasn't around, this deck would just be unplayable. But having a land that's also a draw 3 as the game goes on, potentially pretty good. And yeah, keep an eye out for what potential sideboard cards could be. I could be really boring and just put some like Relic of Progenesis on the sideboard. Graveyard Hate's good into a lot of people, but right. With that, let's jump into a league. Right, so we are on the play in our first round. This is Lands and Spells, so we're going to keep. High Tide is just chilling out here, looking a little suspect, but we've got hopefully the rest of the hand will carry it until it comes online. So let's start with the Preordain. I think I'm going to end up bottoming both of these. Love to see the land. Let's see what we're up against. Island. I was about to say Island, going to be a bad matchup, but that was another High Tide's interesting. So the reason I'm saying that's interesting is that their deck's not going to be amazing against just a crap ton of birds. We do need a snap and card advantage and a Murmuring Mystic. And it looks like we've got pretty nicely lined up Cryogen here. Just fog 3 damage, yeah, and we even get to play a spell still. So we played this first to not get spell pierced. Just healing salve, draw a card. I love the island. So mow themselves. They're at 4, so snakes cost 3 mana. Snakes cost 2 mana. And there's a snake. If we had a Lorien revealed, I would just be slamming, I think. High Tide, get snap. Lorien, just go to town. As is, I think it's going to be very awkward because I don't really want to use I don't want to snap this turn. They're just going to want to sit on mana and counterspells, and they'll, play a cheap threat and hold a counterspell very likely next turn. I think I'm not snapping this, which means I might as well clue before we Merchant Scroll. And that kind of works. Okay, the Abjure is not a great draw. Yeah, I feel like we're almost relying a bit on them not having everything together. I'm not going to block this. We go down to 8. This might turn on Demon Inferiors and the like, but this is an extra blue thing for a 1 mana counterspell. High Tide against mono blue doesn't work the best. But those are the cards that we have. Let's see what we can make happen. I am not filled with confidence. I think we High Tide in response to this then, and then pay the mana with one of these lands. play a merchant scroll. Let's take a snap. Snap one of the serpents or the delver. I guess it's the delver. They can't set this up as well. It could be useful to have it in their hand. Or for us, for it not to be flipped. And then are we just slamming a Lorien, or are we cryogening? I think we need to slam the Lorien to get this out of the way. And then we've got, I guess we don't have Abjure. That's a shame. Snap's hilarious. So we can Merchant Scroll, have 6 mana. What's that, just Merchant Scroll for a, what's it called? We just bounce this and then counter Abjure. That works. Let's Merchant Scroll, get ourselves actual factual counterspell, and snap their guy and just counter. Oh no, we can't counter everything in their turn because we don't have High Tide anymore. We will have 4 mana, so if they have a counterspell, that won't work. Then our best draw effect is Behold the Multiverse. We're really just blasting through our hand here, aren't we? I guess we might as well cast this now that we've got it. And then we just have to Abjure twice rather than counterspell. Mystic Remora's kind of good if they don't flip a Delver. I'm not sold on either of these. I think it has to be a Murmuring Mystic. Okay. Well, let's see what happens here then. So what have we achieved? We're kind of equal on cards now. So that's not the end of the world. What's this going to be? Cyclolorian, sure. We're equal on cards. We'd not dropped to Mystic, which would have been great. Abjure this, sack the Cryogen. Meeting of Minds is nice. Gonna try and Abjure and sack the Crab. I think they can have a Delver, but you can't have the Serpent. And then we're just gonna spew for value. So hard evidence means the Meeting of Minds costs 1 mana, which is conveniently how much mana we have available. Ooh, okay, well, that was interesting. I would say it was a game where it worked. Don't really have a lot for this matchup, not gonna lie. I don't think I want to exclude, I think that's a bit greedy. I'll have another Meeting the Minds. Unwind is incredibly greedy. Mystic Remora is great. High Tide might be bad, but I feel like we need, how do I say? I feel like we need that effect because otherwise, aren't we just always going to lose slowly? I guess the plan is just stick a. Okay, maybe we do cut the High Tide and then leave out the Unwind. Bring in the Unwind because we've got a High Tide. No, I like 1 High Tide because we've got the Merchant Scroll for it. Yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure what the plan is, to be honest. But the idea of cutting High Tide against a mono blue deck does sound like it makes sense. And then we're just going to work everything else back from there. This is too many snaps and too few of everything else. Without a way to find like a third land, the counterspell is unlikely to be good. This has a Murmuring Mystic, has an Abjure with nothing to put back, a Snapback which is pretty lame. Put back the Abjure or the Snapback. The Snapback probably doesn't need to be in the deck. So let's get rid of that. We'll keep the Abjure in case we do have these 8 Abjure targets or once the Mystic resolves. Obviously the turn 1 Delver we could have Snapbacked. But love the Preordain. Obviously we're topping this. Do I want a second Murmuring Mystic? Like, I do kind of want it. In case the first one gets countered, but like, I'm kind of looking at turn 3, we'll just play a Murmuring Mystic and see what happens. if they tap out. Like High Tide, Murmuring Mystic, get great value off of the High Tide. We could motion scroll to set that up, like by getting a snap. I'm gonna bottom this, and I think I'm gonna hate that choice. This is gonna work if they are aggressive and bomb pretty hard if they're not. By aggressive, I mean like, basically tap out on turn 3 to jam some snakes. So they set this up. I'm probably gonna merchant scroll for a snap. It's a shame because that means we have no card draw, and we're kind of locking ourselves into that. But I'm gonna go with that choice, regardless. I guess the problem is that you've Island, High Tide, Snap Moment Mystic, but then we have no birds. Doesn't sound great. So we're going to their turn. They're going to feel no pressure to play anything because we're going to be dead in our next one. And that's going to start with like High Tide, get countered, have a dead Abjure. Don't see how we're getting out of this. Do we snap one of them in their end step? Probably not. It's like, we can't beat a counterspell, but I guess it buys us the turn. Also turns off our chance of even having a good turn on our end. Yeah, can't say I like where this is going. We will skip to a counterspell. Good. But yeah, their hand was pretty good on the play. I think we're on the draw. We're on the play this time. I still don't think I want more High Tides. I think I'm kind of happy with this setup. Maybe I don't want Meeting the Minds because it's only good if we have a Mystic in play. Unwind, if we're just unwinding the first thing we see. I don't know. I'm just going to run it back. I think that we have to, hope that they don't have a turn 1 Delver that's applying that much pressure, or turn 1, turn 2 Delver. This hand is better. We've got a Cryogen, so we can actually use our Abjure, for example. Let's play a Hard Evidence. Let's make sure we don't just click High Tide on turn 1 ever. That'd be pretty rough. So we're going to play a Cryogen into the face of Force Spike, or are we going to sit on Crack the Clue? I think that's better. Let's just not give them, although it's something using the mana. Yeah, I'm just going to Crack the Clue. Don't love it. Would we Abjure a Delver? Probably. We're not countering a Ponder. We're not Heathens. You can have their lands work. They're they can play some lands, that's fine. I think we counter a Delver. Delver was quite problematic last game. So we Crack the Clue, get a card, and then we play Cryogen. We can't Force Spike it. If they spell Pierce, I might Abjure. Well, I wasn't expecting that. We send them a message with the crab. So this game's going a lot better. They're going to have to tap out at some point to, they're going to have to tap mana at some point. Maybe not tap out to play something because they have, no threat. And when they do, we can come back at them with Murmuring Mystic. And I think I'm just going to behold the multiverse for Tell. I'm going to Island Cycle in their end step. If this is the turn, if they ever get down to 2 mana, we can lead with High Tide. Just kind of build that board state. Can I do this now? It is a later turn. I think I'm happy just Island Cycling. It's funny because we do probably have more card draw than them, but not by as much as would be very comfortable. Like a couple of deep analyses makes up a lot of ground. I'm just going to get the counterspell out of my hand. It's like if we get into a fight over this, that's clearing the way for the Mystic in our turn. think I sack the Cryogen, just get the mana out. And then do we do the Foretell here? This is so tempting to counter for them. And obviously if they do, then we can kind of go nuts. Yeah, we got him. And it was a Force Spike. I mean, if you have a Force Spike in hand, you're never letting that go. Never, ever, ever. So we're going to end up with a load of cards in hand. But no, they're going to have the coast clear for however many snakes they have. That is the trade-off we have made. But we have a Murmuring Mystic, and I hope it is good. The first Murmuring Mystic kind of covers a Serpent all on its own. Let's draw 3 again. I think I'm just snapping and trying to boat race. Yeah, especially with the snapback, we're just slamming. Cool. Does not feel like a good matchup, but feels like there is, there is a route here, there is an option here with this, kind of build. The one-sided mana advantage from High Tide been pretty powerful. Right, we are back for round 2. And am I going to keep the hand with a Murmuring Mystic? Of course. I've got 4 lands and a Murmuring Mystic. What more could we possibly want? I don't want a 5th land. I think I need to have the Preordain and just, find out a bit more about what they're on. And then, so they are on Jund, is my strong guess. I'm going to be mana efficient and counterspell most of what they play here. I'd love to get a Wildfire. Nickel Wellspring, I think that's fine. I'm not over the moon about countering a Wellspring, but so I can preordain now, but these lands are starting to get tricky. Love a shuffle effect to go with this brainstorm. So let's go top, play the island. I guess I'm playing the hard evidence. Obviously the problem is that we're not stockpiling spells in hand for the Murmuring Mystic, and we're against a deck that's going to have a lot of spot removal. So Murmuring Mystic pass is not going to win us the game in the way we are hoping to win the game. But High Tide would be nice. It's a shame we're drawing a brainstorm. I think we're basically hoping that they draw a land, play a Chrysalis, and then we draw a land and play a Murmuring Mystic. Doesn't sound great. Even if I draw a High Tide, I don't think I'm playing it after cracking the clue. So let's just attack. I don't think there's anything. Maybe if it was like if we drew a Merchant Scroll, I would have probably scrolled for a High Tide, but that would stop them from tapping out. It definitely looks like the snap's coming at our Murmuring Mystic as this game pans out that way. Oh, hello. Let's just both take a minute. Let's not be too hasty. I can actually just play a Murmuring Mystic into this, right? They get a cast down out of their hand. We get to draw a card. We have a backup. Alright. Right. Yeah. Maybe I shouldn't have played this yet. I will draw a card. So I'm going to pay 1 mana to keep it around. So if they do play Chrysalis now, interesting. Do we let the Remora go? And then we can play our second Murmuring Mystic and hold up Snap to target our Mystic. I think I'm just letting it go. It's a shame, but I'm pretty sure this is correct. Especially they've only got the 1 black source currently. Yeah, I think I was too hasty slamming this. Playing it with having that and a Murmuring Mystic in play is just such a big game. So they've already played the land for the turn, so we don't have to fear a a cast down. I'm not too worried about a Crackland Shaman and a Galvanic Blast as an example. They just draw a land. We could have snapped that, but yeah, it's a shame with the Murmuring Mystic. The Mystic Remora. I would have wanted a bit more from it. So 1, 2, 3 artifacts. So it works with a cast with a Galvanic Blast. Brainstorm trigger. How this brainstorm goes will affect the outcome of this game. That's not great. Cast this. Bottom and bottom. So we could snap and play Abjure, and play Cryogen, but I think we are passing back at this point. Would love another Murmuring Mystic. Is that a bit greedy? They're up to 4 artifacts. They're nearly at Crackland Shaman. They are now at Crackland Shaman levels, but if they want to sacrifice like their Blood Fountain and 3 lands, unsurprisingly, that is not their plan A. Am I going to Abjure this and take the shield slightly down? Yeah, I think I am. And I'll sack the crab token, keep the blood tokens. So I'd be very surprised if they want to sack their entire board for the Mystic. We just draw 3, make another guy, keep up 2 mana again. We're at least not falling behind quickly. Merchant Scroll becomes interesting, but I think we just do that when we have mana available. You know, basically now in our next turn. What are you doing now? Breath Weapon? Pulse. Pulse is kind of fine now. Reverb's kind of fine now. We've already drawn 3. I'm probably just pitching the Relic. We're just going to make so many birds with Merchant Scroll for a High Tide Merchant Scroll. So we're keeping the hard evidence. It's 1 less card, but it's a bird. This is a extra Crackland Shaman guy, but again, if we're doing it in our turn when we've got mana and we can snap on the stack and Abjure on the stack, I'm pretty confident. So let's play our island and play a Merchant Scroll. Merchant Scroll resolves. I'm going to get a High Tide. I'm going to play a High Tide, plus 5 mana, at least. I'm going to play another Merchant Scroll. And what am I going to get now? Probably the Meeting of Minds. Play the Meeting of Minds. I'm at the point I'm getting close to wanting to snap. Not snap, but play snap. Hello, Merchant Scroll. I think I get this. Play this, get another snap. Even another High Tide. Snap's better because it means we can protect our Mystic. Snap the Chrysalis, right? It's time. Start moving in. I didn't respond to that. Am I just going to snap again? I think this is just going to be enough birds, is the plan. So let's draw 3. I don't think they've got main deck Breath Weapon. That's not a thing. And we can kind of go hard again next turn. Or we just keep going. Again, Chrysalis isn't... No, main deck Breath Weapon isn't a thing. So we just snap. The Krark, I mean, they can sack a guy to tap their guy. They can sack or like kill their guy to stop this, but yeah, I think basically the do I just leave up Abjure? Yeah, let's just leave up Abjure. Well, we've made 4, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 birds. They're at 23 life, so that's 2 swings. Even factoring in the block, everything came together quite nicely again. So I'm going to try and Abjure this just because it's, you know, a Writhing Chrysalis. Lets them Blood Fountain, but let's see what the worst they have is. Lembas. Yeah, okay, Lembas is pretty bad. I was when I was saying the worst they had, I was thinking it was going to be worse than Lembus. Yeah, Murmuring Mystic's just run away with the game again, hasn't it? I mean, we're just going to jam even more spells. Oh, don't forget your 3 life, yeah. Yeah, don't forget your 3 life. The idea is we can find a counterspell and cover a breath weapon that way. I'd rather try and do that than try and rebuild. You know, if they're casting a breath weapon, they can easily Crackland Shaman kill our Murmur Mystic. There's our counterspell. Let's just do some more clicking. Obviously, each of these is an extra bird. Not the best series of draws, but we found the counterspell which covers our, how I think we could lose this game. Now we've got the crabs. They can come in as well. Everyone's welcome. Yeah, so interesting to see how the rest of this match plays out. They're going to have some red blasts, which will. What's this going to be? Arms of Fadar? Boy, do we have refurb food. Yeah, so it'll be interesting to see how the rest of this game plays out. They're going to have red blast to deal with our mystics and interact with us on the stack, which would be much harder for us to deal with. However, 2 games in, if we beat Blue Terror and we beat Jund, could be on something. It's not a bad sign. You may crystallize. Again, I don't think they have a breath weapon, but let's just check in. They're at 14. We have 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So we do actually kind of want to play another spell here, but that might just be the snap. Otherwise, we just counter a life gain. And not even to be honest, we probably don't. We just take an extra turn of attacks. There's no card really that I'm worried about that races us from here. Bestow a huge Hydra, toxin analysis, and attack. Yeah, I guess that works. I like these. I'm just describing a bad deck here, but I like these decks that, just get over the line, but it's not always pretty, and you're looking at a hand of a snap, an island, and a counterspell on turn 10, and you're like, well, it's done enough. It's done its place. They're all role players. This looks like a Hydra. So they have 3 blockers. So 10, 10, 11, 12. So we need to snap a guy to make an extra bird, which will probably just be the yeah, it can't be the Hydra guy. And now I believe it's lethal. I guess the Mystic can join in the action. Why not? Even the crabs get in. Nobody left behind. No man left behind, right? That's the motto. No man or crab or bird or gender neutral wizard. Gender ambiguous, that's more what I was meaning. So I'm going to have some excludes, because exclude is great fun. Tempted by Meeting Minds, tempted by Unwind. I'm tempted by just bouncing my original plan when I was looking at what I would do with this deck was that the plan against tap land decks just be to bounce their land a few times to set up a high tide turn later on. I'm not sure that's it. I don't want the snapback. Well, the snapback is just a free count. Is kind of a counter spell with if they target Murmuring Mystic with removal. I do want high tides. I think they don't have any islands. That's a deck building error. Actually, what the hell do we sideboard? I could see cutting the hard evidences, maybe like an Abjure. But hard evidence just being a 1-mana spell for Mystic is pretty good. Having your pile of Murmuring Mystic cards be these 5 There's not very many ways to make guys there. But this is 7 cards. Okay. This was my first thought. I'm not going to kind of overthink it. I'm just going to stick with that. This is kind of a mixture of, dealing with their red blasts. Just some good value stuff. The unwind's a bit awkward. Yeah, let's not have unwind. Unwinds shouldn't be in the deck, I don't think. Steel Sabotage gets like refurb and could bounce a bridge. Maybe that's better than the hard evidence. No, I just want more 1 mana cantrips, even if they're 3 mana cantrips, really. Yeah. Oh, the hand that dreams are made of. Exclude and nothing else. I mean, I'm snap keeping. They're not a deck that is. I'm expecting to put me under him like a lot of pressure early, so we're gonna have time. The high risk is that we just get dressed. So this is a dress. I stand by this keep. That's quite funny. Hydroblast in a dream. Maybe they take the exclude. Maybe we're left with Hydroblast. No, maybe they take the Hydroblast and we're left with the exclude. That would be a dream. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. They do? Oh wow. That's interesting. What does that mean? I guess if they have a red blast, they can just stop us from, like we sink 3 mana into an exclude. That's not good for us. I was going to say no duressing. I need to get this safe. So the Hydroblast is good draw because they've taken another one, which means obviously they value us not having that effect. And it could also just be that they are, correctly going, I only, you need Murmuring Mystics. We're just going to stop you having Murmuring Mystic. And that is the entire game plan. Some consideration to Beholding here, but they know we've got the exclude. That stops them from playing a 4 mana Chrysalis. If they play a refurb, then we'd have a tough choice. I think we'd just unforetell this. And if they, we get into a scrap, we can always follow up with the Archaeomancer. Do we want to do that anyway? They could have 2 red blasts. Bottom. Mystery Remora is nice if we kind of get another turn with that. Am I happy if we just basically both do nothing and we're sat with 4 lands for the next, 3 turns? I'm not unhappy. Part of me was like, I really want to wait another turn. But they're not doing anything with our mana this turn. Feels so weird. I'm going to pass back because we again have exclude and the Hydroblast. They would have drawn 3 in response to our Remora, so I don't feel too got about that. And are we going to get in a scrap now? Yeah, why not? These cards are made for playing. So I think I'm probably going to play the Remora and then play the Archaeomancer and pick up the Behold. Now we've got a snap to deal with a Chrysalis. Yeah, we just get our card. Love to see Mystic Remora do something. Okay. I should have seen that coming. Fair play, deck. Fair play. Finding it very funny. Love to see this card do something as it just rips into a land and, is completely stone cold dead. Good Crackland Shamaning. I will pay 1. I think I'm going to draw 3. If they want to red blast this again, it's, each time it's I know they do have 4 mana to pay this time. That was bad. I wish I'd have Meeting in Minds. Or like Meeting in Minds in their turn. Or, had red blast available. Because if we hadn't, I know we'd never get enough mana to not have to pay. But we are 2 red blasts through the red blast pile. So hopefully they are running low, and a what's it called? You know, what they can have a cast down. Will allow that. A duress. Just cycle, sure. Cycle and they draw the Wildfire. So we play the Murmuring Mystic. We can't pay for snap immediately. I think we're probably going to their turn and then end step Meeting of Minds. And then letting this go. Obviously, if we have to snap or something, then the plan changes slightly, but that's the bones of it. So Remora will be net one card on the Pyroblast. Is that it? So it's only kind of broken even, but it does make them tap a lot more mana now. Okay, so we just draw 2. We need to find some spells that we play in our turn. Actually, the snapback's pretty handy, because the snapback means we can just play the Mystic. No, I think I'm going to let this go. I'm just going to... Who cares? This is my Murmuring Mystic. And I think I snap my guy and then play the Cryogen over in beginning of combat. Weird step. So opponent could have waited to our end step, but see, that's thin to matter. Double Murmuring Mystic. So a High Tide, we're not got any card draw here, so we can't be too explosive, but High Tide's nice. And they can Crackland Shaman. They do have a load of artifacts over there. We'll try this again. They didn't blood token, and they drew 1 card, so I was going to say it did feel like it was a red blast. I'm going to blue blast. That is what it is in the deck for. And then I'm just going to pass back. Oh, don't forget to attack for 1. So I'm expecting that they will get back Crackland and Refurb. They don't. Why don't you? Just keep going. We'll take 3 again. Oh, this is, for whatever reason, I thought Cryogen was activate only as a sorcery. Like, I've definitely played with the card before and had it played against. You shouldn't be running out of cards in hand. Well, the island's not helped. That has. So I think I'm just going to Murmuring Mystic, Merchant Scroll for a No, I don't want to get a counterspell because it's just we've got one already. Oh, we'll get a Meeting of Minds, sure. Draw 2, attack for 1. So yeah, now it's at the point where it's kind of tempting for them surely to get back a Crack. But we could save both of our guys. Just put 5 lands into a counter this. You can activate your Blood Fountain. Right. I mean, it's working. Just Murmuring Mystic nonsense. We are on the draw in round 3. We do have an island and a preordain. We found a second land. We've got 18 lands. Yeah, I still don't think we're keeping. We are on the draw, so we're going to get draw step, 3 cards from preordain, draw step, 5 goes for a land, and that would be a Cryogen. But we do need to kind of hit 2 lands, or it would be nice to hit 2 lands in that. Okay, I'm going to keep. Change of plans. Am I going to get Spell Pierced out of town? Not exactly. Do I want... I've already hit it. I was going to say, I would have probably kept the preordain. I think I should have. Is it Fairies, or is it Terror, or is it High Tide? High Tide would be a funny match. What do we play? I feel like we just play the Cryogen. They are Fairies. Good stuff. So I'm expecting they have a Ninja. As for why they've done that. The fact that it's Ninja the Depowers rather than the 1-mana Ninja so that they could spell stutter again is absolutely huge. and very good for us. So hard evidence just completely blocks this. I can also just put the remora into play. Let's hard evidence. I could keep this tapped down for a turn. Does that matter? Not really. I'd rather have it for Abjure. I think I'm going to Merchant Scroll and just find a High Tide. It's weird because it's the threat. I'm gonna Merchant Scroll for the threat of a High Tide. But yeah, Fairies is not going to be a Murmuring Mystic. That's not going to happen. So, what have you got? A stupid mutagenic growth? No, you don't even bother. Fair enough. So the threat of a High Tide has currently cost them 2 mana. We're just going to have a little tracker in our head. I can play the Remora. I guess I'd rather have the hard evidence resolver, but if they play a guy, if they sprite it, then I High Tide, snap. I can bounce the sprite and still play Mystic. So maybe I do start Remora. No, because I don't want to keep Remora in play. Remora is so sad. And now I think I'm just drawing from clue tokens. Sure. Very humble. Love the threat of a High Tide. Just put the fear in them. Cards on the table, I'm up to no good. What are you going to do about it? We're just going to sit there and let me draw? Great. So we can kind of repeat the same thing this time with the Remora, but I'm not that excited about that. I could pay 4 for an Archaeomancer, and if it gets countered, like actual factual counterspelled, who cares? I could just run out the first Mystic, and if that gets counterspelled, I've always got a second one. It's a shame we've not made our land drop. I would like to do something more proactive to find the land drop, like crack the clue, use cryogen or something. I think I just have to take a turn off and Archaeomancer and try and take a Preordain if it resolves. Do I even just take another hard evidence? Just all the way down. Just 3 mana clue tokens all the way down. Yeah, this is fine. So spell stat comes down. Is this because you have a ninja? Or is this that you have another sprite? Or is this just that you want to have an 18-turn clock? You're tapping mana for another ninja. We're entering the party time. It's not another ninja. Yeah, I think I'm just going to preordain. I think I can afford to bottom this. No, I'll keep it on top. It's fine. It's not great, but it's fine. Again, I'm happy with them spell stuttering this still because I can then do my Remora nonsense stuff. And then looks like we're passing back. We've got clue token, we've got land cycle. So they're starting to unlock their position a bit. They can, do 2 things. But our coast, we're still up on resources. If the time that they do something, we're gonna take the opportunity to punish it. They get in for draw a card, pick up a sprite, but the sprite didn't do anything anyway. And now do you have to discard to hand size? You're going to spend more mana. Spend more mana. Love it. Love that for you. You should just tap out. It's going to be fine. Look at me with 6 islands and a High Tide. It's fine. Just tap out. Don't discard to hand size. Just cryogen this. It's a shame because I don't want to lose the Abjure. So let's just crack a clue first. Okay, another island. Guess we're dropping a Mystic Remora. If they want to fight over this, I think that's fine. I don't want to get it spell stuttered. Okay, they're going for it. So I High Tide in response. If I High Tide in response and they spell pierce, I have to Abjure the spell pierce, which isn't great fun. They dispel. Same thing, same difference. Abjure this, sack the wreck. So we're going to end up basically putting a Murmuring Mystic in play and passing back. But we will have a Mystic Remora in play as well. Yeah. I think we're winning this game, but I don't think it's an incredibly impressive turn. You know, it's just the power of Murmuring Mystic, especially against fairies. Like, what, they might have an unsummon, but none of their other removal is going to do it. Yeah, they have a snap. Do we draw a card? Is this net +2? Looks like it is. Made of money over here. Made of cards. And we're going to try and replay it. Are you gonna counterspell that? We're going to draw another card? Oh boy. So they have a spell stutter and obviously this miscreant. So fairies are going to be on 2. If we run out the first mystic and they counterspell, we draw a card. We can't counterspell back because then they'll sprite it. And we've always got the second mystic. Yeah. Show me a ninja. Still don't feel bad about this situation. Again, the more that I guess that the like card parity just goes completely out the window when they're playing 1-mana 1/1s and we're just triggering Murmuring Mystic. That's the point. That's the kind of going over the top of them, you know, idea. So we have to pay 2 mana for this. I think I'm going to pay 2 mana for the privilege of putting a Murmuring Mystic in play. This is just the dream. I'll have a card. Then I'm going to try and counterspell. And like, sure, you can spell pierce or dispel, but I'll have another card for that. You're going to pay the tax? Mystic Remora is such a fun magic card. It just starts off with like, let's just all calm down. Let's just find 2 lands. That's a shame. No attacks. That's a shame. Well, Mystic Remora has now made its money worth. We don't have anything in our hand to play, so we might as well spend 3 mana on a stupid Mystic Remora. Oh, just feed it. Keep them coming. That's so good. So we know about a spell stutter, and that's it. I think if they're just going to keep feeding us cards, I will keep playing this. I think I'm going to foretell this turn, and then see what happens. Because again, we can block up the ninjas, that's fine. Start trading birds for real creatures. I think I'm just going to get rid of the fairy. Makes it harder for them to have spell stutter be a counterspell. Yeah. You know what? That's fine. So 1-mana ninja. Does that imply they have 2? There's a spell stutter, there's a harrier, and there's whatever they do this turn. So they have a miscreant. A spell stutter and a harrier. I don't hate foretelling this now. Let's go to their end step if we're going to do it, for what it's worth. Just, I don't know what it might be, but we can wait. So if they have a counterspell, we're drawing. Spell stutter doesn't work. Let's go top this. Probably going to snap the Archaeomancer. Go a long ways. And then let this go now. I mean, we do have a lot of mana. I can pay 3, sure. Is it 4 now? It is 4 now. I thought it was 4. So we play this. If they have a spell stutter, well, they have a spell stutter. They can spell stutter. We can counterspell. They can't have 2 other things. God, there's just nothing good in here. Brainstorm. Just another counterspell or a High Tide. High Tide's fun. Don't think that's a great choice. It's still a bird though. There's a flaw as to how bad a bird can be. And I think that we're letting the Remora go this next turn. I think we're post combat Meeting of Mindsing, so we can use the crab tokens to pay, and then we're just going to try and, you know, spend some mana, snap the Archaeomancer, High Tide. We will have High Tide. I know we won't. We've only got snap. I guess even with one snap, it costs 4 mana per loop. So for every 2 mana we make a bird, which again, this is a fair matchup, is going to be good enough. Funny that our hand is just all these reactive stuff, or all this reactive stuff. So, like, we need to pick a fight, otherwise none of our cards do anything. Okay, so let's go. We've got so much mana, let's just play High Tide, see what happens. This is our one proactive spell with our Murmuring Mystic. And I kind of just want to let this resolve now. Sure. Snap our Archaeomancer, make 2 guys. Just set up for next turn being a... Now we've got them. Now we're trying to play our spells. And obviously each of these come in with 2 birds. It's just very good for us. We're under no pressure to get the game over with. We'll be trying to Archaeomancer back. Probably the Behold or a Lorien? Probably the Behold. Let's get a Behold. Make 2 more guys. Bottom and bottom. Make 2 more guys. Yield through the turn. And then I'll start, like, next turn I'll attack for 10 and, you know, get the game over with. But this game is over, if not won yet. Fairies just can't beat 10 1/1 flyers. I shouldn't have auto yielded because we can crack the clue, but oh well. Here are 8 1/1 flyers. There was going to be 10, but this is definitely the point of we just want to get the game over with rather than play accurately. So even happy enough just auto yielding, fine. I think opponent is making clear that they are about trying to time us out, which is fair. We've used 12 of our minutes on the first game. Used half our time in the first game. Hopefully the next game won't take as long. And we will make a conscious effort to play quicker. And that'll be fine. That's the plan. The whole plan. Yeah. Well done. I had an opponent do this to me. It's very funny, but the true trick is that you double block, so that the opponent has to. I shouldn't be saying this because there's somebody out there that's going to do it now. You double block, so they have to assign combat damage. I think it was in one of my videos. I was like messing with them because they were trying to time me out. And it was like I purposely left it so I had like 5 seconds on the clock, and then attacked for lethal, and they were like, "Oh, order combat damage." Nearly got me. What are we up to? What are we up to here? That was a long game, right? I think I just want more, you know, expensive spells that are instant. That sounds good. Don't want Inside Out. Don't think I can really get behind Unwind. Can we get behind Exclude? Not hugely. What do we cut for the Meeting of Minds? It's not obvious to me. Part of me thinks it could be a land. We're going to be on the draw. Could be a snap or a snapback. Probably the snapback. Yeah, like we're not really. Their deck's not really about that life, is it? And the snap just lets us have a bit more interaction on their on our terms. I'm interested by Exclude because it's hard for them to spell stutter, but it's also so easy to it's so easy for a 3 mana card to just rot in your hand against fairies where you can't find the time where it lines up to play it. Still, the whole plan and nothing but the plan is to try and find a Murmuring Mystic and get it into play. It is so good for us, the hands that have a hard evidence and just blank all their ninjas forever. It is so absurd. Yeah. Oh, you can mulligan, but undo the hard evidence. They didn't actually mulligan the play, but it sure feels like it. Obviously, a ninja connecting does undo the pain of a mulligan pretty quickly. We're also just going to take the opportunity to spray all of our preordains out. Just find lands. I don't think I'm going to keep the Cryogen, although that does turn on Abjure and it'll be what we play next turn. Guess we are keeping the Cryogen. And now we're playing this preordain. 2 lands is, I was about to say, and we want to see 2 lands. And what did we see? It was 2 lands. So we're going to play the Cryogen. We'd rather they don't play a 1-mana elf, or 1-mana fairy, and like have a land and spell stuff the Cryogen. If they want to spend anything other than a spell stutter on our Cryogen, that's fine. If they want to have a ninja, like, it's not great for us, but it's fine. It's definitely not great. All of the grief I was giving them about undoing a mulligan, they have well and truly undone it now. So they don't replay their, the intruders. They discarded an intruder hand size. Whether that's the intruder or whether they have a second, hard to tell. I'm not sure what's going on over there, but if it was me, I think it's unlikely I would spend one of my mana to draw a card. I think the mana is more useful or more valuable. Like, sorry, I spend a mana to not have to discard a card is the correct way of saying what I'm trying to say. So now I think we Cryogen Relic this down. No, that turns off Abjure again. Oh, that's a shame. But it is very tempting to Cryogen that down. Or do we just say you don't have 2 counterspells, like 2 actual factual counterspells in hand, and just give them Murmuring Mystics? We didn't see a Force Bite, did we? We saw like Spell Pierce really early on. Yeah, I'm just going to say, do you have 2 counterspells? That is my question to you. Or a Snap. Snap's pretty good. Okay, so it looks a lot more like a Snap. I don't believe they have nothing. But it might be, and if it is, then that is good for us. I can block here, not playing around 2 mutagenic growths as an example. They pick up their sprite. Wow, okay, I guess this is the benefit of just trying to make them have it, is if they don't have it, does that mean we play another Mystic? That seems a bit much. Is it though? Well, how many cards did they draw? They drew 1 card from last, or 2 cards from last turn. I don't really like any of my other options because I'm not very good at making birds without countering something. I'm just going to play another Mystic. Again, they might have drawn a counterspell. They did draw 2 cards. They did. That's fine. If they drew a Snap as well, it would have sucked. Maybe that was wrong. Maybe this is the thing where I just need like another hard evidence, basically a preordain in that spot, and I'm a lot happier than I am as of now. They've got 2 shots at drawing a Snap. They've got 3 shots at drawing a Snap. And we're going to have to make a lot of birds. We can Cryogen tap this. Block here. We still need to make 2 birds with 2 mana, which means they have to play something first. Don't like our odds. Obviously 3 if they've got another 1 mana guy. So I think we have to start with Remora. But then we just tap a mana to not achieve anything. I want to start with Remora and have them counter it. But if I can't force them to counter it, yeah, this is a shame. Just needed like a preordain. Maybe they play a spell in the end step. Okay. So we can abjure this, sack the bird, remake a bird. They have a spell pierce. And we're dead. That's a shame. I think we shouldn't have gone for the second miss. Obviously, it happened that they drew the spell, but Yeah, just having too many counterspells, meeting mines is too clunky. I'm going to run it back as is. I'm not really sure what we do differently. That was annoying to lose. That felt like we could well have won that game. So this sucks against like 1-mana ninja, like 1-mana creature and a ninja. I'm going to keep it more because of having 3 lands. And we have to bottom these because we're, you know, saying that we're holding up counterspell every turn of the game. They have a 1-mana creature. Presumably that means they have a ninja. Wow, we really threw this. There had to be a way to win that second game. So we're going to hold up counterspell this turn and then try and preordain and counterspell next. You know, if we can preordain and catch a spell stutter. Oh, god damn it. I can't believe I auto-ed it there as well. That's just being so lazy. Okay, that's fine. We do get to spend our mana. They put a card to the top, so I'm going to play the Cryogen. I think it's too likely that means they're spending their mana ninjuring, and us holding up counterspell doesn't do anything. Looks like this is just Archaeomancer. If they have a counterspell, that's fine. That's not being counterspell. That's not counterspelling a Murmuring Mystic. And we just pick up a Preordain, pass back. We have a ground blocker for some of their 1/2s. Again, I'm not too sad about seeing them tap mana. Drawing an island here is huge for us. Or them playing a spell, because now we can preordain safely. Does that mean we want a hard evidence? Yeah, I think so. Worst case is they like spell pierce that. So I can preordain or I can merchant scroll, but no, we need to find her. Have I played land this turn? No. I'm going to keep both of these. Play the land. And I guess there's no point preordaining, so we might as well crack the Cryogen on a Fairy Seer. Or hold up counterspell. Hold up counterspell or the clue seems good. I'll bleed another damage to a Fairy Seer. It's always a shame when the window's kind of open not to use all your mana, but again, I want to be able to have spells in hand to start with if we get a Murmuring Mystic. So I'm just going to Cryogen one of these guys now. We've got the Crab or the Archaeomancer for an Abjure. And can we Murmuring Mystic? So can we Merchant Scroll? I think with 2 counterspells left, I think we can. They need to have 3 pieces of interaction, which they can well have. They only have 4 cards to do it with. And then what do we take? Behold, and we just foretell this. And then we can crack the clue in their end step. I like that well enough. They snap the Crab, but again, so I autoed it because I've got block. They might, they have an intruder, but this guy. I really want to counterspell this and just have them use a sprite and a mana. No, I think that's fine. Cracking the clue is just too good value. Hanging out a counterspell for bait is not quite there. We have 6 mana, so we have 6 mana, 7 next turn. Okay, hard evidence, again, great draw. I think I'm sadly stuck Lorien of Building so that we can Murmuring Mystic with enough juice still in the tank. But I'm not excited about that. I'd love to be able to play the Lorien, but I don't want to go down to like facing lethal. Not that we get too much choice in the matter. Maybe we're supposed to run out the Foretold card now. It's a tough point. We really need to draw Murmuring Mystic, which we now do. That's obviously very good. We cycled, gas looking for a Murmuring Mystic and we hit. That's very big for us. We can counterspell this. They counterspell back or sprite back. We counterspell again. So we're not taking damage this turn. Worst case they have, so they've got the tap guy, a card in hand last turn, and whatever card they drew. If it's a snap, if it's not a snap, I feel okay. If it's snap for Mystic in our turn, well, I guess I don't know why they're waiting for our turn, but if it's snap on Mystic, it's pretty rough. Then we might not be able to get through these, but again, 3 creatures, 3 spells. So the cards from Mystic could well be enough. They're looting, obviously a snap is one of their cards. I think we get there. Love a high tide. Just if we're saying we're about to try and go nuts, high tide is spot on. Kind of running out the least valuable things first. If they spend mana on this, then we hopefully get the Behold. We'll go bottom. We just want more card draw. We don't really get it. Let's see if we find it here. Obviously now we've got an Abjure, so we have got one piece of interaction. Shouldn't have sacrificed a bird. It's unlikely to matter, but that was a mistake. Bottom, top, draw 2, merchant scroll. Guess I just get another meeting of minds. I don't mind snapping these. If we snap both, we get to Lorien. Cool. I think we have done it. Sure, we can attack. We just need to win within our 3-minute constraint. So scry to the top. Obviously they've got this to draw that card, but that uses 3 of their 5 mana. You draw it straight away. What would you draw into? Like a snap, maybe? Snap on a bird token? No way. That's not good enough. I think I just bought with the crab. I don't see what goes wrong with this. Don't want to throw my bird tokens away. Play a Cryogen. Counterspell. Make a bird. Draw off Cryogen. Play Hard Evidence. Amazing. Draw off the clue. Cryogen this down. I'm just going to attack for 3. No particular reason why we've chosen 3 as the number, but there you go, bottom. We have to be a bit careful that anything we play might get countered. I'm going to leave back 4 blockers. Sorry, 3 blockers in the air and 2 crabs. Get in for, what was that, 5 damage? And we get there. So we are 3-0. And we've played, what, Blue Terror, Blue Fae, and Wildfire Junt. So we've played like all real decks. Interesting. Hello, we're back for round 4 against friend of the channel and frequent opponent Entropete. Let's hit him with the good luck, have fun. And let's keep this hand. Show him the good news, which is we're on another completely different deck from, so yeah. I've seen this guy on Black Sack a lot, very active in the Black Sack Discord. I think they're really, he's in for a rough one. I kind of want a merchant scroll for a snap rather than crack the clue. We don't really need to because we've got the, yeah, we can hold up counterspell. Like counterspell and Mortician Beetle, for example, would be good. Just how we drew it up. Okay, well, now you're just showing off. I'll block. But yeah, so I'm still kind of tempted by merchant scrolling for a snap at some point in this game. But let's be cracking the clue first, because if we draw a Murmuring Mystic, we'd rather have the merchant scroll in hand. And obviously we've got this snapback available. Are we going to block? I don't think at this point we are. This is on the cards as a lot of damage. Little do they know we have a snap. Little do they know we're merchant scroll or a unsummon, and we can merchant scroll another one. Yeah, they're going in. They've only got 2 more cards in hand, and we're putting both these back in their hand. I think we're just snapping. Snap back there first. I think this was the right way to go. They sack this to grow this. I'm expecting a message now, because obviously this is not a played card, and it's very good in this situation. We take 5. They replay their guy. Oh, it's sickening. It's truly sickening. So that means we can just crack the clue and hold Merchant Scroll for a turn. Okay, well the island wasn't great for us. I'm hoping they play another guy, sack a few more, getting a bit more damage, then we snap them again. That's the plan. And then Merchant Scroll starting to look like it's just getting like a Behold the Multiverse out of shame. Okay. That's, I'm going to say, kind of good for us, because we we're worried about having a Murmuring Mystic. Do we want to snap here? Problem is, if we draw, like, we're going to use up so much mana next turn. But if they have like 2 guys, that's fine. Like, this is fine for them. I'm going to say decent chance that they think we have a counterspell. And don't, yeah, but they have to replay. There's so many situations with their hand they have to just jam there. So I think we're playing the Merchant Scroll. And what the hell do we get? I think it's got to be this stupid Behold the Multiverse, and just, kind of say we've got nothing. I hope it's good enough. So again, lots of cards they could have that do a hell of a lot of damage this turn. Lots of cards they could have that don't do damage. This is on the fine end of things. This is 3 damage. Another snap, Jesus. Let's see some cards. I don't hate the counterspell, but that can't be good. I will have the Brainstorm. Another Merchant Scroll. That's a shuffle. We could shuffle away the island. That's going to tap us out. Oh god. That's horrendous. The only upside is that we're getting close to Merchant Scroll for High Tide being good. So we'll play this land for the turn. Next time we're going to have 7 mana. Merchant Scroll, 5 mana. High Tide, 4 mana. 4 mana does not a Lorien Revealed cast. I think we're land cycling the Lorien to draw 2, basically. I think we are fortunate that we still have a snap. We've drawn 3 snaps. We're not fortunate we've drawn the Abjure with oh no, we did have a hard evidence once. At some point in this game, Abjure had the option of doing something. 4 mana for Meteor Mines, try and snap this, take 3, die to a right. Play Merchant Scroll, get Brainstorm is currently our best option. I think we want Merchant Scroll because we want, yeah, so I'm playing this now because if we draw hard evidence, we'll play it straight away. Merchant Scroll is the best thing to have in our hand because it can be 2 spells with a Murmuring Mist. So, where there's a snap, there's a dream. We can't beat any fodder creature. There's not many things we can beat. Let's try and snap. It's one of the things, if they are thinking, I think there's a high likelihood that whatever they have is lethal. But if we get to untap, I think there's a decent chance we end up winning. Right? It was close. If we had a Murmuring Mystic a bit earlier on, I think we'd have been okay. So there could be an issue where we should have Merchant Scrolled for a snap earlier if we ever had 2 mana, and we're kind of being too greedy, but again, I was very wary from the game before where we eventually played a Murmuring Mystic and just didn't have the juice left. Inside Out doesn't do anything, does it? No. These blasts don't do anything. The artifact doesn't do anything. Exclude is just too much mana. Curfew's not what we're about. So I think we're basically just running it back, but matchup's gotten a bit worse for us. Mystic Remora's kind of interesting. Like, they've got staminas, they've got unearth, and they don't have that many lands. They've got snuff outs. Mostly I just want to say I've got 5 snaps, and it's going to be really hard for them to work out what to do. Exclude stopping, what's it called? A Curse Mortar is real, but I basically want to be snapping my mystics in those spots. Is Meteor Mind even good here? I don't think so. I don't think it's a match where we need to have more juice once I get going. I just need to get going, and then that'll be fine. That's the gist. Right. I'm going to keep this again. Looks like a very similar situation. They've mulliganed. Don't think they ruled in the game one, did they? No. Yeah, it's a shame. Obviously, I think there was, we saw a decent number of cards. There were chances where we, draw the Mystic earlier and we're safe. This is an interesting spot. What do we Merchant Scroll for? Do we Merchant Scroll? I'm going to Merchant Scroll. And I'm going to take... High Tide's interesting to just let me go big on mana in one key turn. Counterspell's not. Behold is interesting. Abjure is not. Brainstorm's interesting. I think I'm getting the Brainstorm. Again, it doesn't have to be amazing, it just has to be enough. Or it could be a snap, but I don't want to run myself out of card selection and just be worn out of gas. I don't think they will Mesmeric Fiend this turn. I think next turn is the turn we have to be fearful of the Fiend. So we'll hold up our counterspell mana that turn and, have our bluff. Now I wish I'd picked a High Tide. But that's okay. Right. Back to you. We have a snap. We have a 2-mana run summon. We have a just actual blank piece of cardboard. What are you gonna do? We take 2. Good choice. I mean, it's starting to get spooky, but I think being able to Mystic with Snapback might be okay. If they go all in, we can snap. I expect it's probably a snuff out. It's not a snuff out. I don't think they're expecting. Snapback. I'll turn off this auto yield later on. I think I'm blocking a nested Shambler. This is turned on Tragic Slip. That's fairly likely to be what's going on. This is alarm bells ringing now for them. Yep. You can be very confused as you have to make up 17 points of damage between these two creatures, and I'm just sitting here like any other effects. This is 11. You really stopping? Fine. What, to keep 6 squirrels? Do we stop here? Do we... 11 damage, we go down to 6. Right. I'm going to brainstorm first, try and find a land. We do find the land. Let's put back Island. Okay, make a bunch of blockers. Yeah, like obviously we know we had it, but I'm still surprised that they didn't make us. It's whether they can win from this position. I don't think they will. Block, block, block. Take another 4. Guess we block here. It shouldn't matter because they just sacrifice that one to, yeah. So I block the, yeah, no, because this does just reduce the number of creatures in play by 1. Obviously, it doesn't matter too much. They just block they sack the squirrel that's being eaten to keep their guys. Carrion feed is fine. Unearth, I think, is fine. Unless I just want to abjure it to get the card out of my hand. I don't have any blue creatures anymore. Crack the clue, draw the Archaeomancer, draw for the turn. Play the island. I might have actually run myself out of juice now. Play a High Tide. Because I need to make a hell of a lot of blockers. Play Archaeomancer. Because a snap doesn't do anything anymore, because they can just sack whatever I target. If I get a hard evidence, then I will have 3, 4, 5 blockers for these 5 and 3 unblocked. So I'd have to snap one of these and make a guy, which gives me 6 blockers and 1 unblocked. So I'd leave a squirrel. I think I cracked the clue. Because if I draw a 1-mana spell, it's very good. We don't quite. So again, I think we're not dead. We can snap the Mortician Beetle, or snap back the Mortician Beetle, probably pitch the Abjure. No, sorry, pitch the counterspell, because we need to keep the Abjure as our 1-mana spell to keep ourselves alive against rights. That's annoying. Snap back this, pitch counterspell. Let's go block, 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 block. And then we can cryogen down. So they're going to save the 2 squirrels to kill both our guys. I guess if they're killing a guy anyway, I might as well keep a extra token. Then we can cryogen one of them down. If you have another thing for this, that's a beats. Or a right is also a beats. Just the absolute what's in the bag of tricks. Play cryogen, tap down the carrion. And then we can hold up counterspell, overplaying the other cryogen and tapping out and dying to rights. If we do that and they don't counterspell, they don't cast anything, then what we block, Mystic here, Mystic here, Crab here, Bird here, Archaeomancer here. We're basically, okay. Let's run through that again. So we're keeping Mystic, they're sacking an Ested Shambler. Oh no, they're eating 2 guys or sacking the Shambler to eat 1. And then we're going to have 3 blockers for 1, 2, 3 guys. So I can afford to hold up counterspell. I think that's a mistake. I feel like I've messed up the maths there. But if they do give us a counterspell target this turn, I am happy. Then I would be very happy, especially if it's a right. It's not a right, but we do have to just slam it. It's another guy that we struggle to block productively, and then we're going to have Abjure online next turn. Okay. Are we turning the corner, or are we not? We are definitely going to struggle to finish out this match and another one. I don't even know what we want to draw. I was going to say it might well be a Murmuring Mystic. And now we've got Abjure and like 3 growing creatures, 3 things to chump with. I think that's pretty good. So we can't counter that because then we die to a right. we're throwing away the Archaeomancer because it's all about Moment Mystic. Let's go block, block, block. Expect that they sack a creature. They don't feel they need to. They unearth a guy. That puts them empty-handed. We have 4 creatures. We can cry and tap a guy. I don't want to die without them having a right. That would feel very stupid. Let's start on Cryogen. Snap's huge. I'm trying to work out, I think I get a High Tide to set up for next turn rather than a counterspell. And I think I have shields down for a turn. But then if I survive, that next turn is going to be brutal for them. Okay, I'm going to do that because I need to make a decision quickly to try and end the game in fair time. So the idea is that in our next turn we can play High Tide, snap Archaeomancer a bunch of times, and that would just make enough birds to win the game. I think if they have a right, they'll just play it. If it were me, I'd just sack a squirrel. Sage is not a right. So we know they've not got anything. Let's keep Carrion Feeder tapped, sure. See what we draw. Meteor Mind is pretty good. Pretty good. Here, block here, block here, block here, block here. Cast the Meteor Minds. High Tide. Hard Evidence. Draw a card. Murmuring Mystic. Snap Archaeomancer. Snap a bird. Play Archaeomancer. Get back a snap. So we can't play this because we tap out from Abjure. But yeah, this is a winning board state. I appreciate them conceding. We are obviously very, very low on time. We weren't going to win a whole match from that position, but we're going to play game 3 in case, maybe there's a way that we actually do win in time. Otherwise, we're playing for the moral victory. I want to say guess my record because I'm proud that I was doing well with some pile, but I don't want to make them feel bad. Or pressure them into conceding there where they don't have to. They're well within their rights to force us to have it. Any other changes? Like the exclude maybe looked good. I don't think it looked good enough. I think this is just the configuration. Again, the Meeting of Minds could have been good, but the Abjures weren't very good. Okay. I think we're going to lose, but we're going to keep. Probably get a snap here. So Island Cycle, have 2 mana. I'm going to keep. And play super fast. No thinking, just mashing. Which helps take that line, or say no thinking when you have like a Murmuring Mystic in hand, and that's the entire plan. It's just basically getting there without throwing away too many cards along the way, basically, so you still have the gas left in the tank. Okay, I'm just going to hard evidence then. Slight change of plans. This lets us hold up counterspell now, and then next turn Island Cycle. I'm feeling pretty good about this. Maybe I should have cracked the clue, I don't know. We're passing back, holding up counterspell again because their current board is not in any way threatening, and we can, represent. Obviously, we're strongly trying to represent that we have a counterspell. It is tempting to Merchant Scroll for a snapback before we play a Mystic, so that we're not hanging out to dry. We can snap back, save our guy, but what would we discard in this hand? What would we exile to use the snapback? Love a snuff out. Increases their clock by 1 at the minute. We're never stopping that. We're never countering it, sorry. But obviously it also removes a one of their ways to deal with a Mystic. So I'm just going to dump a Mystic here. I think they're going to kill it. I don't think they would snuff out if they didn't have a way to kill it. But the worst case for us is the Accursed Marauder that gives their Beetle 2 counters. Yeah, that's what I was expecting. They keep it around, so if they have a sack outlet, they have stamina. Oh, that's tough. I'm going to play a Murmuring Mystic. I'm going to preordain and hope they don't have a sack outlet and the stamina. Top, we'll have both of these. They're all birds. If we get to our turn, I don't feel bad. Got 2 mana for thing. High Tide only have 2 mana, but we've got Snap. I'm not going to play around 2 staminas. I'm just going to thin down the board. Is it 2 staminas? It's 2 staminas? It's 1 stamina. 1 stamina is fine. Tragic Slip. Yeah. Merchant Scroll. Let's get a High Tide. Play a Hard Evidence. Pass back. We're looking at like snapping the Beetle and cracking a clue. Doesn't look good. It's not necessarily over. I mean, that does help get it over with. I think we need the High Tide because we need to play a Murmuring Mystic. Although, to be honest, them taking the Preordain, leaving us with like, yeah, I think this is the right choice for them. We Preordain. Let's go bottom. Do we need to top this to not die? I think so. If we snap this, they can't replay it, but it will eventually kill a Mystic. Let's just snap a token, draw 3, Mystic Remora, and the snapback is back. Neither of those are too great. One of the things of, we could still get there even if we have to snap back, pitch the Remora, go to 1. Good. Die to a right. It's not a right. We're just gonna try and get a High Tide and see where we go from there. I'm going to crack the clue first because if we draw a Mystic, that's good. Preordain into a Mystic. Top, bottom. Play a Mystic. We're going to make 3 blockers. They're going to have 5 attackers. So we are dead. Right, so we are on the play for round 5. And this is keep. Turn 1 hard evidence. Just snap keep. What's not to like? Having looked at the list, completely underestimated how much of a banger hard evidence is. Okay, so this is a fun matchup. I say a fun matchup. I've never played it before. But this is what I'm a terrible sideboard where I think we boarded in Meeting of Minds so far. And like basically nothing else at any point. I know we boarded in 3 Hydroblasts against the Jund guy and the excludes. But basically, I knew that red was going to be a problem, so we just had a load of blue blasts. Still expecting it's going to be tricky to fight over Mystics, but Cryogen or hold up counterspell. Again, we've got a clue token in play, so we can crack. So I'll hold up counterspell and try and get a, grab the prize or a flame breaker or something like that, or a wrench resolve. Snap that off. That's making me think slightly more towards the rally type deck. It's a bit early to Merchant Scroll for a High Tide, but we're going to do it. That's what we came to do. So again, yeah, so it is rally. They do have a red and another wrench resolve. It's not a bad one. Ooh, cycle. I'm not hoping to High Tide this turn, so I'm kind of pleased that we don't have to. I think I'm going to slam the Archaeomancer, mostly so that they Galv Blast it and just pick up a hard evidence. And it's just kind of try and get value out of our High Tide next turn. Because we've played our 4th land now, but if we Cryogen or something into another land, we can get an extra, whole extra mana out of our High Tide. Currently it's a Dark Ritual, right? But it can only get better. Funny, like, if it were me, like, knowing what we know, that there's only like a couple of snaps, I'd be going after that crab. That crab's way better than Archaeomancer. So High Tide and just spew out some relics. And do we wait a turn still? I think I can wait a turn, because if I tap another guy, the damage we take comes right down. If we draw a land off this and get to hard evidence as well. Yes, that's a net of +2 mana on our big High Tide turn. High Tide turn. That's fun to say. Synth for Mountain, sure. I've got 3 cards in hand. I'm hoping not too many of them are bolts to kill a Mystic when we play one. I also hope that we play a Mystic. So this is a lot of damage. That's 5 coming in, so we're down to 10, but they've only got 2 cards. So if we draw a Mystic or a Preordain, for example, I think things are going okay. If not, I think we're in a bit of trouble. High Tide, Cryogen, tap a Tomb Raider, draw a card, Preordain. I think I have to top hard evidence, pass back. So we're taking 1 damage again now. We can Abjure if we need to, but we've spent a High Tide on that turn. I don't think we need to Abjure that. Yeah, but we do need to counter this one. But kind of most worryingly, we've ran out most of our spells that we can play. So if we even draw a Mystic now, it's not incredible. It's not bad. We've got 2 counterspells, so we shouldn't die. But if they just start attacking, if they just keep attacking, then we might be in a bit of trouble. We do need to find a Mystic. And that's a Cryogen. That's a Mystic. So we have Abjure, sacking Cryogen. We're set to take 3 damage down to 4. Obviously getting to do this now, making an extra bird, is a big game. If we block with Mystic, it can get Galv Blasted. So let's go block, block, say block. If we don't block with Mystic, we can get Galv Blasted. So we might as well, say might as well. So we have to block and hope that they don't have it. Bolt is fine, Galv Blast is not. They don't have it. So now I think we're actually, we have to get the game over with quickly enough to cover what they have and can draw. This is kind of everything coming around okay. I'm going to bottom the snapback. I'm not going to spend too long on the decision. It is another free spell, but I don't see much I'm going to want to bounce. Play the island. Obviously we've got the... I can't imagine we're taking too much damage on the ground, and we've got a counterspell for their first, or for whatever spell's lethal. Love the mountain. And they redraw away another mountain. I don't think I tap out. Mystery Remora is funny. I think it's worth investing a card. Let's draw first. If we draw off this, then we can play the Remora, and then still have 2 counterspells up if we draw one off of the Remora. They have 4, 5, 6 attackers, so we can attack with 1 guy. But then we'd have to, if we attack with 1 guy, then we'd have to counterspell if they make another just random dude, which isn't great. For the sake of 1 damage, I don't think it's worth it. But they've turned off their what's it called? Galv Blast. Their Galv Blasts are only 2 damage now. And they're turned off, they've got their Tomb Raiders. And by tapping out for this, it means we can crack the clue without, being double bolted. Mr. Remora's not drawn a card yet, just to be noted. So what, they've made 3 2-drops, 2-power creatures this turn. So they've played to the board better than we did. We will pay a mana, play a Preordain. I guess I'll top the counterspell, but I don't love doing it. I'd rather keep Xeroxing, like just keep playing drawing spells. Oh, I hate countering this. I guess we put one on top, so we just basically trade a turn cycle back and forth. Abjure, not great, not terrible. So we have 5, 10 blockers. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I feel like I'm going to have to start attacking soon. I'm going to attack. Part of the problem with this is that it can make our future attacks worse. But again, we've got 2 draws covered. I'm going to keep the island in case I think our Brainstorm's in the deck. Again, just classic good deck building, R1 of Brainstorm. Remora does make it hard for them to double spell and so on. Like, I don't know, Synth is tricky. Keep the Remora around. Brainstorm, Lorien is lovely. Let's slam draw 3. Really wish I'd played the island first. I've used the counterspell. Maybe they don't bolt now because we draw off the Remora. Maybe they Fire Blast us. They Fire Blast us, we draw. They don't have a thing for that in the graveyard, a Lava Dart. Yeah, if we'd played the Abjure first, it'd be a lot cozier. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 4, 5, 10, 12. Let's attack for 2 then. So we've got 2 turns covered. Ideally, we're not countering creatures. I think it's time to let the Remora go. I think we should win from here. It's tricky because I've got so many 2-power guys. I can actually thin out our board. Yeah, everyone comes at block here, block here, block here, and then we might as well kill their 1/2s. But they've chopped down our number of flying creatures significantly. So it's about time that we play some spells. I think we behold straight away with 2. We don't play a 3rd. Yeah, that's very obvious. Bottom, top the Brainstorm, play an island. We can Merchant Scroll, snap a guy. Each of these is just 2+2 guys. We're just trying to get up to as many. Obviously, we've still got the counterspell, so we can counterspell anything that would still kill us. Untap 2 lands. And now we can attack for 4. They go to 13. It's not lethal next turn, so we will have to find something. Maybe we should have. I guess that means we should have Merchant Scrolled for a counterspell or an Abjure. Okay, it's not going to matter. I don't mind just showing them that we're on a huge pile of Murmuring Mystics. I guess we don't actually need to keep playing though. We can just. We have attack for 10. Then we're going to attack for. Well, we've got 13 power in play now anyway. And then we've got counterspell for their draw. I guess the point of playing out is to see whether we would have punted if we had runner-runnered. Nice! Didn't think we were stealing game 1. I am glad that we're playing Rally rather than Ping a Burn. Any other changes? Don't think so. Maybe like Steel Sabotage could be okay. It's a bit clunky in places. think we're cutting Snapback. I think I'm cutting the Remora. I don't think Remora's. I think it's cute. I think it's not bad. I want to keep the Merchant Scrolls because I want to be merchant scrolling for these. Snap's not great. What would we cut all the snaps? Like a Cryogen relic, because Cryogen's just not amazing, or maybe an Abjure. I might keep a Remora, cut a Cryogen. Was that? I kind of lost track of where I was going. Basically, I was just going, I wanted to keep. I know if I have a Merchant Scroll to snap for, that's a snap to Merchant Scroll for. I like the idea of cutting these because I don't really want to abjure. I don't want to cut all my cryogens because I don't want to abjure away my hard evidence tokens because they are great. Maybe I just cut 2 abjures. Yeah, I think this looks okay. This has actual factual God Pharaohs for Faithful and a Blue Blast. So we'll lead on actual factual God Pharaohs Faithful. Just gain 1,000,000. I'll block. If you have a Galv Blast, sure. Take your turn 2 off to Galv Blast my guy. You don't have a land? Oh, buddy. You're in the danger zone. So we have counterspell, we have clue token. I think we're very unlikely to Hydroblast this turn. And this turn we're probably just end step cycling a Lorien if we're not counterspelling a... Yeah, that's counterspellable. We get to drop a Cryogen and have Cryogen, Abjure. It would have been so sweet to get the... So I'm assuming we're going to win this match from here. Just based on opponents still on 1 land, our deck's kind of humming. It would have been so sweet to get the trophy with this absolute pile. But we'll, make do with... another good solid 4-1. Yep. I agree with you that you have to take the aggressive line and Hydroblast and Red Blast to fight through damage there. I'm going to kill this. I'm just going to drop an Achaeomancer because it's a 4-mana spell that we can resolve in a window. Take the window to resolve 4-mana spell, just pick up a Hydroblast. Burning Tree, it resolves. Maybe we should have been more patient. It's still not that bad though. What, we take 4 damage? We have like a bit of a board to mop up. That's not that bad for 2 cards. Preordain. I'm going to bottom. I'm just going to play out some stuff and pass. I'll probably take 1 from the percussionist at this rate. Let's see what happens. I'll get in a scrap. If we both tap out now and I can then untap a Mystic, I'm happy with that outcome. Just run us both out of cards, sure. As is, there 1 card left. We're going to play a Mystic, and if it's a blast, we can still resolve our Mystic. It's not a blast. Well, it's not a red blast. I think Fire Blast would make a lot of sense. Yeah, if we Hydroblast this and we also get to Meeting of Minds, that's just pretty bonkers. Again, even if it is a Fire Blast, I'm not worried about them blasting this turn. And yeah. So, 4-1 with, what we beat. I'm going to say the top 4 deck. We beat Terror, we beat Jund, we beat Fairies, and we beat Rallyburn. We lost to Black Sack. We could have won game 1, I think. I'd have to watch it back. I can't really remember. I've just played 5 games in a row with like a mono blue deck, so it's all gotten a bit misleading, a bit complicated, confusing in my head. But 4-1, beating some good decks. What worked quite well? 2 High Tides worked quite well. High Tide for just having an explosive Murmuring Mystic turn and not having to need to try and control the whole game. Just go, against Fairies, against some of the decks. just having one really good turn is good enough. Like even Jund, if they like game one, they don't have breath weapons. Abjure, I think the hard evidence is so good. Abjure, again, I really like Abjure Mystic Remora. I feel like that could be something. Abjure with the hard evidence and cryogens didn't impress me that much. We had a few situations where we had these in hand and they weren't great. I think we actually managed to find a balance of draw spells relatively well, and like the one Archaeomancer didn't punish us, but it did come up a few times. You know, we did Archaeomancer snap for value with Murmuring Mystics, which was the dream. We didn't have two high tides going at the time, so we had infinite cards, but we didn't have, you know, a lot of games who weren't completely stable, locked up like that, if you know what I mean. It wasn't, we've got our infinite combo, now we win. It was like, yeah, we just had our good turn and you've not quite killed us beforehand and you're not gonna kill us after. High Tide in a counterspell deck is tricky because we kept on having these kind of, let's say, big turns. But then we also wanted to leave up 2 mana into their turn, which makes it kind of complicated. But again, I think it works, and like the snaps worked. Sideboard, yeah, but the less said about this pile of cute stuff, the better. I like the idea of the inside out for spy walls, and again, I didn't have that many different ideas. I like the blue blast, kind of like the excludes. I like the meteor mines. Anyway, that's just me saying what I've liked and disliked. I think I'm going to work on this a bit. Maybe try another league. And there's definitely some weird looking card choices, like one brainstorm, the Mystic Remora, one of each of these, like Archaeomancer, and the Snapback. These are definitely some weird card choices. I could see, just needing a bit more Xerox, and when you've got a Murmuring Mystic in play, being able to consistently chain things. I mean, that's part of why the Merchant Scroll's good. I definitely wouldn't want any more Merchant Scrolls. I was happy with 3. Cryogen was fine. It being 2 cards rather than 1, and like tapping down a creature is pretty good, but tapping down a creature is kind of what Mystic does. I think it came up a few times that it wasn't it didn't trigger Mystic. But like the game goes long enough, I don't want to have these be spell piercers. Anyway, that's a list, a long rant about the considerations. We will see when we come back to it what's changed, what we settle on. I would appreciate any ideas on this because it was a cool deck.